started living in the dorms at the time I was dating this guy, and I found out that he was cheating on me through this girl's private story that one of my guy friends was added to. She posted a picture of my boyfriend on her story with a bunch of hearts around his face. Also, she had a bunch of guys added to this private story, and she didn't even go to my college. My guy friends showed me this, and I looked closer. The picture was taken in his room, the floor above my room, in his dorm room. So obviously I flip out on him and I break up with him, right? Well, okay, that happened in, I believe, May. He goes home for summer break, okay? We leave college, we haven't talked or anything. Fast forward to August, he comes back and he's trying to talk to me. He's trying to get back together with me, blah, 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 blah. Apparently he tells this girl that he wants to work things out with me and ends things, basically. I don't know what they were. I don't know if they started dating, but at this point, he breaks it off with her in August. So at this point in my life, I don't know what this girl looks like. I had never seen her before. I knew her name because my friend told me her name was, we're going to call her Katie, okay? Her name was Katie. That's all I knew. But she wasn't actually even from the town that I was from and going to college. Anyways, so one morning, I'm walking out to my car in the parking lot of the college, and I get in my car and I drive to the post office. I'm just running errands. So I pull up and I exit my car, and when I get out of my car, I see that I have a huge scratch from my side mirror all the way to the back bumper. I'm obviously like, what the fuck? Who did this? That is my first question that I have. Who did this? Because I'm inspecting it, just checking to see if maybe this was an accident, but no, that shit was deep as fuck. At this point in my life, I have no beef with anyone. I'm chilling. Like, life is good, okay? So I'm like, what the fuck? So I obviously file a police report, okay? And I file a claim with my insurance, whatnot. Still trying to rack my brain. Cannot figure out who would have done this, okay? Fast forward a year. I'm in a whole new relationship. We are 6 months in at this point. We're very happy. Things are great, okay? I'm over this man that cheated on me. I'm at a bead shop, okay, like a crystal shop, with my new boyfriend and his family, his sister, his nephew, and his sister's boyfriend. We're in this crystal shop for a good, 45 minutes. We're in there for a while, okay? We're walking out. I am walking out with my boyfriend and his family to my car. And as we're walking out, these two girls come up to me out of nowhere, and they go, "Are you Peyton?" And I go, "Yeah." Then they go, "We heard you were talking shit about our girl Katie." And at this point in my life, I didn't know a Katie. No idea. So I'm like, "Katie who?" And they're like, "Don't play dumb." So I say, "I don't know a Katie." "Katie who? Who are you talking about?" And before they can even answer that question, it clicks in my head, and I'm like, "Katie, okay." Then I think, my ex. So I'm like, "Are you talking about Katie, my ex's name, that Katie?" And they're like, "You know damn well who we're talking about." And I'm like, hold up. I haven't even spoken to that man in so long. And if you have a problem, take it up with him and not with me, because I have nothing to do with that situation. And I don't even know Katie, okay? I've never even seen what she looks like. And if I'm talking shit about anyone, I'm talking shit about my ex, not about her. I don't know who she is, and he's the one that cheated. So I was like, if you have a problem, take it up with him, not with me. And then they go, "Don't talk disrespectfully to us." And I literally laughed, and I got in my car and we drove away. So not only did they follow me and stalk me in that store and waited for me to leave to try and run up on me or something, they really had a problem with something that happened over a year ago that I had absolutely nothing to do with. I was the girlfriend. If anything, I should be the one running up on Katie. And also, I have no idea who those two girls were from that day, so I don't remember their faces or anything. So if I would have seen them, or if I saw them in public today, I wouldn't even recognize them or know them from those two girls, because I don't remember their faces. Their faces weren't that memorable. Also, it was just stupid too, because I was with my new boyfriend and his family when that happened. And it was funny because my boyfriend's sister's boyfriend was like, "Damn, I thought I was gonna have to beat some bitches up." So as we're driving away, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, that's weird, because the time that I got my car keyed was around that same time that my ex told her that he was trying to make things work with me and cut it off with her. And then I'm like, how did she know my name? How did she know what car I drove? How did she know anything about me?
Snack, grab a drink, get cozy. This story is absolutely insane. This happened a little over a year and a half ago. This guy comes into my place of work. For privacy reasons, I am not going to share where I was working or why he was there. But he was around my age, very cute, and there's definitely a flirty vibe going on. Now, I am a professional, so I'm not going to make a move at my place of work, but there was definitely a vibe going on there. So he leaves, and of course I'm like, that's probably the last time I'll ever see that man again. I'll miss him. Then the next day, I get a follow request on Instagram from him. This is the ideal scenario. This means that this man had to go home, Google my place of work, figure out my name, my first name, my last name, find my socials. I know it's not that hard in today's day and age, but if he wanted to, he would. And he wanted to, and he did. He sends me a message on Instagram and we start DMing back and forth. This is just the best case scenario. So after texting for a couple days, he sets up a date and we go on our date and it's really fun. He is in school to be a pilot, really seems to have his life together, which is not something I typically find in men. Everything was just easy with him. The conversation, I wasn't constantly thinking like, okay, when is this gonna end? How do I leave? It just all felt really natural. So we go on 2 or 3 more dates after that. And not to make you mad, but I kind of decide I want to end things with this guy. Even though he checks a lot of my boxes, he's not funny. And I don't know about y'all, but humor is such a big thing for me. Making sure we have the same banter, he gets my jokes, and he also can make me laugh, and that just wasn't happening. I sent him a text and I'm like, hey, I've really enjoyed getting to know you. This has been a great time, but I just don't think I see this working out long term. And he responds and is very, very nice in his response, saying, I've also really enjoyed getting to know you. Please let me know if you ever need anything. If you ever change your mind, the door's always open. I'm like, okay, that's really nice. And I tell him, you know what, like, I'm totally fine if you just want to be friends. And he's like, yeah, actually, I'm totally fine with that as well. So we continue to text, we talk on the phone after work sometimes, and just kind of start building a good friendship. So after some more consideration, I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe I just need to give this guy a chance. Like, maybe we can overlook the humor because he checks all these other boxes, and I normally go for very toxic men, and he doesn't seem very toxic. I send him a text, and I'm like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? He tells me that he has a wedding on Saturday, but he's free Sunday. So I'm like, okay, what if we go grab some day drinks and kind of hang out? He is totally down. We keep texting the entire week. He goes to the wedding on Saturday and we're texting the entire day that he's at this wedding. He's telling me he's drinking, he's having a lot of fun. And the last text I get from him was at like 1 a.m. and it was very clear that he was drunk. And the next day, I didn't hear from him, which was very weird considering we've been communicating very consistently. So the next day at around 9 p.m., I texted him and said, are you alive? Just meaning like you had a long night, you're probably very hungover, like how are you feeling? I don't hear anything. The next morning when I still hadn't heard anything, I texted him being like, listen, if you're gonna ghost me, just at least let me know that you didn't die in a car wreck last night. Let me know you're alive and well, then we never have to speak again. I still don't hear from him. So I block his number. The next day, I get an Instagram DM from his Instagram account being like, hey, we've been getting texts on, let's call him Joe. We've been getting some texts from you on Joe's phone, and we just wanted to let you know that he got in a horrible car accident Saturday night after the wedding and is on life support. I start freaking out because literally the last text I sent to him was like, please let me know you didn't die in a car wreck. I respond to the message and I'm like, I am so sorry. Please let me know if there's anything I can do. Like, can I bring up flowers to the hospital? And they're like, no, out of respect for Joe, we're not allowing any visitors. I'm like, totally understand. So I unblock his number and continue getting updates on how he's doing. The weird thing was his texts sounded a lot like him. I was trying not to read into it too much. Then I told my friends and my friend was like, let's do a background check because if he got in a drunk car accident Saturday night, that will show up on his record. So she does a background check on him and there is no record of a car accident or anything of the sorts. Very strange, but what am I gonna do? Text him and be like, I know you're lying. Through the background check, we figured out some of his family members' names. I look up some of his family members on social media and there is no sign of this man being on the hospital, being on life support. Please pray for our family, a GoFundMe, just, you know, anything like that. I get a text update telling me Joe is doing great. He got taken off life support today. They're gonna let us go home tomorrow. And I just respond being like, that's so amazing. Thank you for the update. And Mother's Day rolls around. Like, okay. If this is true, there's no way that mom is not going to make a post on Mother's Day saying, my baby boy is coming home, the best Mother's Day ever. Thank you for all the prayers, just something So I go to his mom's Facebook and she has posted a family photo. You know who's in that family photo? Joe. Smiling ear to ear, no injuries anywhere to be seen on this man. And it gets better. You know who's standing next to him? His girlfriend. So of course, I click on the girlfriend's name, stalk her Facebook, her Instagram, all the things. She has been dating Joe for the past 4 years. They have been in a relationship for 4 years. Sorry, I just had to say that twice. I, of course, immediately confront Joe. I text him and I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Blocks me on everything, and I never hear from him again. Absolutely insane. First of all, they've been together for 4 years and there is no sign of her anywhere on his social media. Second of all, if you're gonna cheat on your girlfriend, just ghost me. Like, I didn't need this entire fake story about you almost dying. But it definitely put me through quite the emotional roller coaster.
Oh, do I have a fucking story time for you? So this story actually takes place literally last night and like continuing this morning. So if you guys have watched my Get Ready With Me's, then you would know that like I'm talking to this guy. We're not like talking, but like I have a crush on him. Like I really like him. We've been hanging out for the past like 3 weeks. Like we've had sleepovers, hang out like twice a week, like whatever. During these 3 weeks, like he low-key gives me like bare minimum. Like he gives me like nothing. And he's not he's not boyfriend material at all. He literally told me he didn't want a relationship. But my dumbass is sitting here like, you know, do I, like whatever, we can just like be whatever the fuck we are. I don't know. So we were planning last night for me to like sleep there and like come over, and he texted me at like 9:45 and saying come over, and I was like, okay, I'm on my fucking way. Like don't have to tell me twice. He lives 25 minutes away, by the way. So I was like, can I sleep there? He's like, yeah. So I was planning on sleeping over there and everything, and I drove 25 minutes to go see this kid. So I'm on the way and I'm a good 5 minutes away, and I text him, where should I park? Because last time I went there, I slept over there and I walked out in the morning, my car's gone. My car got fucking towed. He's like, oh my god, I thought you had a pass. And I was like, no, I didn't have a fucking pass because you didn't fucking give me one. Why would I have a pass? Anyways, I'm a little bit heated from that because that was a good $300 fucking dollars on the drain, but whatever. Anyways, so he responds to my text and goes, if you have a pass, right out front. Again, I don't have a pass. We've been over this. My car got towed last time because I don't have a pass. But I just say, I don't have a pass, so where? And he doesn't answer, and I'm like, okay. I get to his apartment and I text him, I'm here, and then once again, no answer. So I call him and I'm like, I like just answer the fucking phone, like let me in, hello. I'm literally sitting outside. I've been sitting outside for like 5 minutes at this point, and I'm getting irritated. I'm getting so annoyed. He doesn't answer the phone once again, and I call my best friend and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, this has never happened to me. This is like my biggest fucking fear. Like, what do I do? She's basically just telling me like, wait like 10 minutes, and if he doesn't answer, leave. And I was like, okay. So I'm like texting him and I said, I'm here whenever you want to answer, because like, oh my god, no way. Like, no way this is happening to me. So a good 10 minutes goes by and I'm just texting him and I just said, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, whatever. Because he's not going on Snap either. Like, he's not active on his phone. At this point, he hasn't been active in a good 20 minutes. So it's 10:35 at this point, and I've been waiting 15 minutes for this fucking kid. I get absolutely nothing. No answer, no, like, literally nothing. Like, he's not going on Snap. I'm like, okay, fuck this. I leave and I drive 25 minutes back home at like, I don't even know. I get home at like 11 at this point. So I get home around 11 and I'm literally thinking like, this is the worst kid ever. Like, you are an actual dick. Like, no way, you just made me drive almost half an hour and you don't answer. Like, fuck you. So all I text him is, I hope you know you just fumbled so fucking bad, because what the fuck? So it's around 11:15 at this point. In my head, we were just done. Like, if he wanted to text me in the morning, he could have done that, but I was gonna leave him open for like whatever. Like, I was not planning on texting him ever again. And I'm just sitting in my bed. I'm pissed off. I'm literally like, no way this just happened to me. Like, I literally just couldn't believe it. And then I get a text from his best friend. His best friend was actually asking me to hang out earlier in the day, and I was like, well, I didn't say anything. I was just like, well, like, I left him undelivered for a good like 2 hours, whatever. So his best friend texts me and goes, what are you doing? And I was like, shit. Shit. I was like, nothing. And then he goes, want to come over here? And I was like, yeah. Like, yeah, I do. But the thing is that he had a bunch of friends over there, and I was like, yeah, I'm not low-key gonna like come with all you and your friends. Like, no thank you. And I was just like, we can hang out a different night. And he goes, all right, that's fine. So, and I just go to sleep at this point. I'm literally like, what the fuck even is my life? Like, I genuinely don't know. I couldn't tell you. And then I get a call at like 1:15 in the morning. I'm fully asleep, like I'm passed out, and it's the kid's best friend calling me, and I don't answer, but I text him because he fucking woke me up, and he goes, come over. And I was like, I was asleep. He goes, come over, you can sleep here. Bro, I'm sleeping. Like, what? I just left him undelivered from that text. Like, he's literally still undelivered. I don't know how to reply to that now that it's literally 10 in the morning, but is it bad if I hang out with his best friend? Like, bro just did me this dirty. Like, I just don't care. So I wake up this morning and I get a text from that kid at 2:45. He texted me this. He sends 4 different chats and goes, oh my fucking god, I lost my phone. Leah, I'm so fucking sorry. What do you mean you lost your phone? And you found it at 2:45 in the morning? Bitch, be so fucking for real. Like, do you think I'm stupid? I woke up and I left him open right away. I was like, fuck this. I'm not entertaining this. I'm not. He knows I could actually bitch him out if I wanted to. I just, like, I don't want to put my energy into that because, like, just fuck you. I don't know. So he was on open. And then literally right before I started recording this Get Ready With Me, he texted me and goes, I'm so sorry. Good? Like, okay. I don't know. Is my crash out, like, valid? Like, is that valid? I just drove 50 minutes last night, like, total for this fucking kid for no reason. Like, I just wasted my gas money on you. Like, no. I'm all done with my makeup. I will update you guys later, of course, if anything happens. I'm literally going to work for the next, like, 6 hours. Should I text him back and just be like, you lost your phone, question mark? Like, I don't even know what to say at this point. But thank you guys for watching. I love you all so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Ready with me while I talk about how I married my ex. Starting from the beginning, we met in 2022. We met when I was a freshman in college and he was 4.5 years older than me. So I was 18. He was 23. The first time we met was actually at a little party in college and we both were going to BYU. I was actually in a relationship at the time. He came up to me and I kind of like brushed it off just because I didn't want any drama, none of that. A couple months later, after me and that person had stopped going out, he heard that I was single, messaged me on Instagram while I was living in Washington. I was actually home for the summer and he didn't know that, but he asked me out on a date. I was going back to Utah in a week or so to go to a wedding. I said yes. We went on the date and it went great. It was so fun. I kind of heard that he was a little bit of a player, so I genuinely didn't think anything was gonna come of it. After I went home back to Washington, he didn't realize that I was living at home. He asked if I had wanted to go out again and we started talking a lot. Obviously, I was living in a different state. Of course, I wanted to hang out again, but I wasn't gonna be back for another month or so. We just kept talking for probably a month, not seriously, but it was so fun in that beginning stage. I had to go back to Utah again for my older sister's wedding. Of course, we reconnected while I was there. We hung out the whole week that I was there and it was so fun. Looking back, it was kind of early for him to meet my family, but I wasn't meaning it in that way. It was just kind of fun. Invited him to my sister's wedding. I feel like weddings in Utah are super casual, so it kind of felt normal. End of the week, he kind of pulled me aside and was like, hey, like, what is happening? This is how I feel about you. Like, how do you feel? I honestly was so shocked because I really just didn't think that he was kind of like the relationship type of guy. I really liked him, but obviously I was living in Washington, so I was honestly kind of shocked that he wanted something out of it, kind of, I guess you could say. I was also really excited. I went home to Washington and we kind of like felt things out, kind of wanted to like see where things were going. Within like a week of me being home, his family was like, you should go see Kate. So he flew to Washington. Ended up hanging out with my family for like
3 or 4 days, obviously mainly me, but it was so much fun. We had a blast. It was just a fun, good time. At the end of the week, he was like, let's make this official and let's start dating. I was so excited. After that week, he went back to Utah, back to football and school and just life. I was still working and living in Washington for another month before I would go back to school. And we decided that I should go out and see him for a couple days, and the vibes were just so off. So weird. We were just like not clicking like we had the couple months before. The feelings were just all not the vibes. So after the 4 days, I go home. Day that I get home, both were like, oh, this might not have been the play. Looking back, I definitely think we were being a little bit dramatic about the silly little things that we were annoyed at. Also, I think that we both just jumped into a relationship way too fast, weren't ready. It's kind of one of those things where it's like the guys that girls talk crap on, or the girls that talk crap on guys the most, are usually the ones that they like kind of still have feelings for. I feel like that was us 100%. We both needed time to kind of like get our wiggles out, do all the things. I was so much younger than him, and we just weren't in the same place in life at all. Anyways, fast forward 6 months to a year. His best friend, my best friend, got us to be at the same place at the same time. We knew that we were gonna see each other, but we kind of were like, whatever, it's been so long, like, it's fine, I guess. Instantly, like, there was weird chemistry going on, kind of humiliating to, like, admit, I guess. So we end up talking again, kind of, and then I moved back home to Washington again a month later. Of course, we both kind of knew, like, when I moved back to Washington, like, we've barely been talking, we're not gonna, like, continue it, so it kind of just stopped when I moved. I was in Washington for the rest of the summer, and we did not speak at all. There was random, like, liked each other's stories and posts and kind of, like, hints there, but that was it. So fast forward to the fall, I moved back to Utah, and we hang out and go on all these dates, and it's so much fun. We both were kind of like talking to other people and going on dates with other people too. It wasn't super serious, and we both kind of knew that. Finally, I kind of talked to him, and I'm like, hey, I don't just want to be your side chick. Like, other girls are fine with it, but that's not me. I'm not gonna be that girl. I'm not a fool. Is this going anywhere? Is this not? I wasn't getting anywhere. So within a week, I decided to date somebody else. Anyways, fast forward to 6 months. I go to this photo shoot, and it's like one of my ex's friends. I text the guy who's doing the photo shoot, and I'm like, hey, can you send me a list of everyone who's gonna be there? Sends me a list because I was trying to make sure that my ex wouldn't be there, because at this time again, I still hated him because, you know, it was just a lot of drama. It was a lot of back and forth. You know the vibes. I ask him, and he sends me a full list of everyone, and he's not on it. So I'm like, slay. I'm gonna go to this shoot. It'll be great. Whatever. Show up to the shoot. Guess who's there? My ex, of course. And of course, it was planned. Yeah. The tension was real. And fast forward another month, I'm not dating anybody. I'm not talking to anyone. It's like, whenever you're ready, whenever you're healed, whenever you're good to go, I'm not losing you again. Okay, but you have to be so serious this time, because that was a whirlwind of 3 years. Everything was great, and we were older, and sometimes time is really needed, especially for us. Hung out every day since. Got engaged and married, of course. His best friend gave a speech at our wedding because we wouldn't be where we're at without him. And that is the story on how I married my ex-boyfriend, who I absolutely hated. And now we're married. So that's all. Love you guys.
He wants to hear the story about the guy that I was seeing, who was also seeing his sister. I meet this guy on Unhinged, okay? He's gorgeous. Like, he looks just like Leo from Tell Me Lies, okay? Gorgeous. So he drives 2 hours to take me on our first date, and we had been talking for a couple weeks at this point, and this is right before or right after my divorce. So, like, I would never do this now. But I was like, okay, like, why don't you just, like, stay the night after our date? Girl, be so real. Do you think that's a good idea? No. I'll call him Tony. That's not his name. I was like, I opened my door, I said, Tony, and he looks up and starts skipping stairs to get to me. And he gives me a big hug, and he has flowers. He was like, I'm so excited to, like, actually see you. And I was like, me too. I was like, I'm finishing getting ready, like, come in, whatever. He takes me to dinner. He has a really nice car. He takes me to a very nice restaurant. I'm like, okay, this guy has his life together. He had gotten out of the military. I won't say which branch. And he was getting his master's. So I was like, his life is, like, put together. I'm obsessed. And the conversation is so good. And he's so interested about my interests, which is, like, not typical. A lot of people just don't want to talk about neuroplasticity and how cool it is. That's, like, one of my biggest interests. He was clocked in. He was ready, okay? He was applying for the job to be my boyfriend. And he's telling me about him, and he grew up on a farm in a southern state, and he was homeschooled. But, like, not the type of homeschool where you're with other kids, the type of homeschool that it's just you and your siblings, okay? And he has a sister who is, like, a year younger, 2 years younger. Anyways, so we finished the first date. He stays over. He's already texted me about our next date. He's excited. He's, like, really into it. So he says, why don't you come by me, which is by, like, Eastern, like, ECU. I think that was the school he was getting his master's at. And he was like, we'll do, like, some fun mini golf. I'll take you to this hot dog place, because he knows I love hot dogs. I love hot dogs. Leading up to the date, I was feeling, like, sketched out for whatever reason. For really no reason. He was great. But my, like, intuition was like, ooh, this is not good. But my heart was like, what are you talking about? Like, shut up. Ugh. Having fun, living life, he's hot. At the same time, there was that documentary about that guy. I can't think of his name right now, but he was in Call Me By Your Name. And there was a documentary about, like, all the girls that he had, like, SA'd. And, like, for whatever reason, I was getting the same vibe. And I was also getting the same vibe of, like, maybe he was going to eat me at some point. And I can't explain why. He never, like, gave me any reason to believe that he was going to eat me. But I started to really, really hone in on the fact that he was going to, like, hurt me somehow. So we go on the date. Date is so fun. But then at dinner, after mini golf, he was like, you know what? You look just like my cousin. And I was like, oh my gosh. Huh. And he was like, I mean, she's hot. I'm like, oh. Okay. He showed me a picture. I look identical. And then he's telling me how hot I am the rest of the night. And I'm thinking, oh, this guy wants to fuck his cousin. This is what this is. He wants to fuck his cousin. So we go back. He gets a hotel because he has a roommate because he's in school. He brings out things that I don't want. Wait, who are you doing that with? Because it ain't me. Like, dangerous things. Like, for the bedroom? I was like, this isn't, like, no. We started having, like, pillow talk, okay? We're getting really deep into conversation. And he reveals to me that when he was in, like, 3rd grade, him and his sister got really curious. I'm gonna throw up. Girl. And I was like, huh? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? And he, like, really gets into detail of what they did from 3rd grade to a couple years ago. They were having a full-blown relationship. In that in just that one way. Okay? I really hope y'all are picking up what I'm putting down, okay? Him and his sister had relations for years. And I'm fawning at this point because I'm like, I'm actually in danger. This is not good. I've been drinking. I can't drive home 2 hours. And so I become a therapist. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, that probably really affected you, you know, throughout your whole childhood. Like, do you think that's, like, brought into your adult like your life? Like, I'm trying to be a therapist, you know, and try to make him feel comfortable to just, like, keep talking. But I'm like, I really don't want to hear it, but what am I gonna do? I gotta know where to go. So he tells me everything until we fall asleep. I'm driving home. He's calling me, And he was just like, I had so much fun. Like, I love getting to know you. And I'm like, oh, yeah, me too. So much fun. So much fun. But I was like, you know what? It feels like you don't really have a relationship with God. So, like, I need that. And he was like, well, I also need someone that I can... But, like... I said, yeah, and he's like, yeah, you just didn't seem into, like, all the things that I was into. Yeah, because I'm not. Because most people aren't. I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum, but, like, yuck. Yucky. Yeah. No. Just because they look like Leo does not mean you should date them. No. Ugh. I'm so, like, honestly, this is embarrassing for me to tell. I've waited 2 years to tell this story because every time I try to, I'm like, oh, this looks bad for me. Like, ugh. Well, let me know if you have any questions.
Ready with me while I talk about my stalker story. I've honestly been waiting like 2 years to tell this story because it was kind of scary. We didn't want this person to see this video or find where we were, but I think it's been long enough now to talk about it. Also, ignore my self-tan hands. Really, I haven't figured it out yet, but we're working on it. This started back in 2021, September, end of summer. I just started dating my boyfriend. We were sitting on the couch, drinking wine, just made some dinner, and we heard the doorbell ring. My boyfriend got up to answer the door. We weren't expecting anyone, so it was a little weird. He answered the door, and I just hear this female voice talking. I looked around the corner because I thought it was kind of weird. There was this lady in her 30s, it looked like. She was wearing a black tight dress and really tall heels. This lady had a bottle of tequila in her hand and she handed it to my boyfriend and she was like, I'm so sorry for the noise last night. I live in the unit directly below you. We were doing construction and I just wanted to bring this bottle of tequila to say sorry if it disturbed you guys at all. We were confused because we didn't hear any noise the night before. We were like, okay, it's fine. Like, thank you so much. It's okay. Don't worry about it. A few days go by. It's morning time, really early in the morning. We are just waking up, getting ready for work, and we hear the doorbell ring again. My boyfriend's roommate answered the door. I heard a bunch of commotion. So I open the door and I look outside and I see my boyfriend's roommate like shoving the door closed on this lady. So obviously it was the same lady as before. She had showed up at 8 in the morning, rang the doorbell, and she was wearing nothing but a towel, like completely naked in a bath towel with her hair wet. And she was trying to come into the apartment. She was like, who's there? Is it just you guys? And he was like, yeah, like, what, can we help you? Like, what are you doing? And she tried to shove her way into the apartment. And my boyfriend's roommate had to slam the door on her and basically yell at her to get out. We didn't really know what to think of it. We thought maybe she thought they were cute and was trying to shoot her shot. And then she was pissed that they wouldn't let her in or something. We kind of just like let it go at the time. About a month goes by. Me and my boyfriend are getting ready to leave to go get sushi. We open the door and we look down and there's a folded up piece of paper on the doormat. We pick up the piece of paper and it is literally Morse code. A piece of paper with sentences on it, with punctuation, with lines and dots. I literally have a photo of it. Like, it was a Morse code note. I took pictures and videos of this entire ordeal that I can post, maybe. There's honestly so much to this story, so this is like a summarized version, but yeah. So on the way to sushi, I'm like looking up Morse code on my phone and I'm like deciphering this note. I finally got the whole thing decoded and it said, who are you and what exactly do you want from me? I'll be back in 30 minutes. We didn't really know what to do, so obviously we went to dinner. We were kind of expecting that when we got back there would be another one, and there was. Morse code note number 2. If you truly want me, call me. I no longer trust you. We obviously had no idea who this person was, so we weren't responding to the Morse code notes, but it basically became a series of Morse code notes from this lady. She kept leaving them at the door. This was like a week-long thing. Every night she would leave a new one. It would always happen at like 6 or 7 p.m. Like, here's another one. I don't understand. I will accept Tony, Leandro, or David. They need to call me today. And then just like some random stuff at the bottom. And then there's 3 more. The next one said, are they dead? I don't care if they moved on. I want to make sure they are alive and well, ! Question mark. As for the other gentleman, I am not a prostitute. I need to get to know them first, nor your slave. Also, throughout this whole thing, kind of left out this part, she would come to the door and ring the doorbell over and over and over again. Ding, 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 ding. We wouldn't even answer the door. Like we were scared of her, so we wouldn't even open the door. Most of the time we would just stay and hide and be quiet. She would ring the doorbell over and over and over again, yell stuff through the door, and leave these notes. She randomly left a note that had the alphabet on it, and then when we opened it, she stopped using Morse code, and she actually wrote in English this time. I don't understand, and unless you are specific on terms and whom you're suggesting, I don't get it, so I won't choose. FYI, you don't own me, and don't think for a minute that I forgot you were trying to ruin me. How can I ever trust you? P.S. The problem in my dreams was that. No open borders. Also, the way she was writing in that looked like someone who is clearly frantic, like it was scary. At this point, we know that we're dealing with someone who clearly has mental health issues. You never know what someone's capable of, so we didn't want to make the situation worse. So we kept ignoring it and leaving it alone. This whole thing basically started a series of months. This lasted like over a year. She would bang up on her ceiling at us with a broom at all hours of the night, like in the morning times, night times. But there was a period of time where she would come every single night and ring the doorbell over and over and over again. Here is a clip of how she would ring the doorbell when she would go crazy. I honestly have so many videos of that I can show a different time. But yeah, at this point, we decided to call the cops, told them what was going on. We asked them to come down and tell her to please leave us alone. Submitted a police report. We showed them all the notes and everything. And they would come down and they said that they would go knock on her door, but if she didn't answer, they couldn't do anything about it. We had called the cops multiple times because this kept happening. Even when they would come, like nothing would change. She would still do it again and they would do nothing really about it. They would say, we can't help you guys until she actually does something to hurt someone. One of the last interactions that we had with her, she came to the door, did the ringing the doorbell thing again. At this point, we would open the window, the kitchen window, because we could see it out by the door. We'd open the kitchen window and be like, please leave us alone, go away, like leave us alone. We would yell for help from the neighbors, being like, help, this lady is like harassing us. One of the last interactions that we had with her before we moved out and everything, she came to the window and she told us that she thought that we were paid actors and that we sent paid actors to her door. The cops were paid actors. We were paid actors. And that we sent paid actors to her door to harass her. The whole time, she told us that we were harassing her and we needed to leave her alone. She told the cops that we were harassing her. We needed to leave her alone. Clearly, she was just mentally ill, which we understand, but also we were being harassed, so it was a lot. Here is a clip of one of the last times how violent she got with ringing our doorbell. It was bad. It was really bad. She's hiding. Oh my god. So, yeah. That's that. I can honestly talk about this for so long. I have so many videos. I have a whole album in my phone called Stalker that has every video and all the info about this, so I could talk about it forever. So yeah, let me know if you want a part 2 of my stalker story, but that's pretty much the summed up version.
Okay guys, like I have the craziest friendship experience story time that I just like have been holding for years, and it just came to my attention that this is like happening to more people from these people. So now I'm just like, okay, it's my time. I'm obviously not going to say names or anything. I'm just going to call them thing 1, thing 2. They're twin sisters. That's pretty much all you need to know to put the pieces together here. But like, have you guys been friends with like people that just like lie about like anything and everything? Well, yeah, like now take that, times it by 1,000,000. Like think like pretends they have cancer level. Yeah. And like, I'm not going to talk about like other people's experiences necessarily, but like, let's just say like they've done things like this before. And there's so many red flags, and honestly, I feel like so stupid because I was just trying to see the good in them. Like, they seemed like super nice people when I met them, and I just should have known. Like, anyways. So start off with them, like, lying about, like, random stuff. Like, they graduated early. They went to, like, McGill, and their mom is, like, the head of cancer care, and this, and that. Like, all these things that are easy enough to fact check and, like, see that that is not true, obviously. But this is where it really happened and became, like, personal. And actually affected me emotionally. So we booked a trip to Calgary Stampede. We'd only been friends for probably like 2 or 3 months at this point. But we're like, like they're down for things. I'm down for things. Like, let's book this trip. And there's 5 of us going, so it's me, my friend, them 2, and their friend. And, like, the hard part about it is because, like, unless you experienced it personally, like, you will never understand this truly. But now that I know other people have experienced it, like, firsthand, it, like, makes me feel like I can actually share this and not feel, like, crazy. So, pretty much the very first night that we get to Stampede, one of them is in the room with us, one of them is in a different room getting ready. And the one in the room with us just starts crying and saying how she, like, pretty much is gonna die, and she has lung cancer and is on a lung transplant list, and that she's been in and out of the hospital for the last, like, month or something without us knowing. And, like, first of all, these girls are the biggest attention seekers ever. If there was actually something happening where they had to go to the hospital, they would be telling everybody and anybody about it. So I already know this isn't true. Plus, if you're on a lung transplant list, you are not at Calgary Stampede drinking and partying. Never mind, like, smoking or, like, anything like that. So, anyways, I'm not believing it. My friend's not believing it. We're kind of, like, laughing about it because, like, not to be mean or anything, but we're just, like, we don't believe you. A little background where how this makes this personal to me. This summer, my grandpa had actually been dying of cancer the entire summer and passed away actually a month after this happened. But yeah, I was watching him die all summer. So, like, talking about cancer and, like, making like a lie about it is just something that's so wrong in so many ways, but it was just especially personal to me. And my other grandpa died when I was younger from lung cancer, and we found out he had lung cancer because he collapsed. And so I kind of bring this up. I'm like, girl, like, you don't have lung cancer. You're definitely not on a lung transplant list because, like, if you actually did, you wouldn't be here, and, like, you wouldn't be able to party because, like, my grandpa collapsed when he had lung cancer because he couldn't breathe, this, and that. So keep in mind that I did share this story with them. So I couldn't be around them anymore, so I let, like, thing 1 go out alone, and thing 2 stayed with us, and me and my friend were kind of, like, talking to her, like, girl, like, is this for real? Because, like, there's always 2 of them together. We rarely have one of them separate. And she's kind of, like, telling us, like, yeah, she, like, kind of lies a lot, and, like, she is, like, kind of a problem, and she, like, hurts a lot of our friendship. And so her own sister is telling us, like, this girl does lie, like, and I just get dragged into it. And then later that night, we get a call from the friend that went with thing 1, and it was like, guys, you have to come to the staircase right now. There's, like, an emergency. We run into the staircase, and there is thing 1 laid out, passed out, in the stairwell, pretending that she's unconscious. And I asked the friend, like, how much did she have to drink? Because, like, that was, like, where my mind went first, was, like, oh, maybe she drank too much, and this is, like, whatever. But she's like, she didn't really drink much. So I'm like, okay, like, maybe she got roofied or something. So regardless, I was like, we're gonna call 911, okay? So I'm like, boop, boop, okay, I'm calling. And then she, like, magically awakens, and it's like, oh, I'm alive. Super dramatic, may I add. And she's like, my lung, like, I need my medicine. And her sister goes and grabs the bronchitis puffer that they had from when they had bronchitis, like, a week earlier, that they were still both having, like, they were both coughing, like, weird, which they were trying to play it off as, like, the lung cancer, but it was because they have bronchitis. Anyways, so then I, like, put all of the pieces together, and I was like, oh my god, she's trying to pretend, like, to pass out to try and make this more believable, that, like, because this is what happened to my grandpa when he found out he had lung cancer. And that's when I was like, these people are evil. Okay, well, safe to say I was not friends with them after that experience, and they kind of apologized after for other things, but not for that specific thing. But yeah, the rest of Stampede was horrible. It was just not good. To this day, it was, like, the biggest waste of my money and time that I've ever had in my life. But whatever. So I got back home, and I wrote out this entire notes thing, which I'm sure I could probably find somewhere still. It had all the receipts of, like, everything, all their lies, everything they've ever said, like, everything. And at the end, because I was like, okay, I honestly think that someone should just tell them these things, because if I was this psychotic and delusional, I would want someone to just tell me. And at the very end, I said, if I hear anything about me come out of your mouths, I will make sure this is, like, spread around. Like, people will hear about this. And the only reason I said that is because every close friend they've ever had in the past, they have spread the craziest, weirdest, like, actually horrible lies about. Like, very controversial, which I'm not going to get into, and, like, that, I respect those people a lot because they really went through it. And obviously all that part of it was taken out if I were to share it with anybody. But whatever, I sent it to them, never heard anything back again. Honestly, never really saw them again. A week later, I hear oh, actually, we stopped being friends with her because she just got super jealous of us at Stampede because we're getting all the male attention over her. And I just, like, couldn't help but laugh because I was like, you couldn't have thought of anything else, like, anything, like, maybe believable. So after that, I was like, you know what? Screw it. And I, like, made a private story with a bunch of, like, my close girlfriends. And I was like, here you go, guys. Eat this up. And honestly, it was, like, a PSA to, like, my close friends. Like, do not fall for this trap of a friendship because it's not worth it. Well, last weekend, it's been, like, years. And I'm, like, completely over it now. But these two people came up and they're like, hey, so you're friends with the twins, right? And I was like, I haven't heard this in forever. But I was like, yeah, actually, I was. They're like, well, you wouldn't believe what happened to us. And I was like, baby girl, let me believe you. Whatever you say, I already believe you. And almost word for word, what they did to me, they did to them. Including, like, pretending cancer. Like, I don't think they had it this time, but, like, their mom did or something. Just bizarre. Like, crazy. So, needless to say, we're gonna start, like, a little trauma support group over this because seriously, like, this is nuts. But yeah, if this also happened to you, like, let's all be friends and let's get drinks and talk about this because what the heck. Anyways, peace and love, guys. That's just, like, I can't believe I'm bringing this up after all this time. But, like, I actually just, like, I think it's the funniest thing. They've not learned their lesson at all. So, whatever. Bye.
Get ready with me while I tell you about my horror story as an au pair in Spain this summer. Okay, so for you that don't know what an au pair is, it's basically a live-in nanny, but abroad. So I did mine in Spain. Okay, my light just died. But basically, I had been searching for months, and I finally came across this perfect family. There were 2 daughters. One was 9 and one was 8. Basically, I had a phone call with them, and they were perfect, so we ended up signing the contract. So I started at the beginning of June. Mind you, I have never been to Europe before, and this was my first time ever flying that far alone. My brother was in Italy, and so I ended up meeting him there, and we hung out for a week before I took my flight to Spain. I landed in Spain, and I took the bus to their town, and the dad ended up picking me up, and he was super nice. He was very welcoming, gave me a hug, and while we were walking to the house, because this is a town where, like, everything is walkable, you don't really take cars. While we were walking to the house, we found out that we had mutuals, which is, like, really crazy to think about because they live in Spain and I live in California. But I knew a family that was going to be in that town that summer. I just randomly, like, figured it out, and it was the same family, and so it was just, like, really weird how that all played out. Then the dad walked me to the school to pick up the girls, and I ended up meeting them, and they were both really shy at first, but they were honestly just, like, super adorable, and I was so excited to be in Spain with them. We walked up to the house, I got moved in, it was perfect, and this is where things started to go wrong. One of the daughters moved in with her sister, so they were sharing a room, and I took one of the daughter's rooms. I took the older one. And so obviously she's not used to that, and she had been living in her own room this whole time and now has to, like, get up and move her stuff for me. And I think that is where our first issue started. But anyways, the first week went by and it was great, honestly. Like, we had so much fun. I would drop them off at school at like 8, and then I'd pick them up around 4, and I'd have the whole day to myself. I made au pair friends. Honestly, it was great. Then the second week came around. As an au pair, a lot of people know this is just like an au pair rule. But weekends you get completely free. You're allowed to travel, you're allowed to do whatever you want, and that was in my contract. I was able to do whatever I wanted. That Saturday, I went out with my au pair friends, and obviously we went out really late. I came back around like 3 a.m. and honestly, they don't care. I asked them, I was like, do I have a curfew? They're like, no, do whatever you want. Obviously, like, I was quiet when I came back. We're in Spain, you know? Then the next morning, obviously, I wasn't feeling 100% because I'd been out really late, had some fun with the girls, and we all woke up to get breakfast. They made us breakfast because we always have breakfast together on weekends, and they went to go see their horses. So I was home alone for like 3 or 4 hours. They did ask me if I wanted to go with them, and I said no, I'm okay, because I had to plan a trip because my mom was going to visit me because they had a week trip planned, and so I had a week to do whatever I wanted, and so my mom was just going to come. We were going to go travel together. But yeah, so they get home from horseback riding, and the older daughter, comes up to me. Little daughter is on a trip right now, so she's not here. And the older daughter is like, hey, like, can we hang out? Can we do this? Can we do that? And I'm like, oh, okay, like, sure. Even though it was my day off, I went outside and I played with her for like probably an hour or two. And we were kind of just playing soccer, and she started to be mean, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go in my room. Like, I can't do this right now. So then I go back into my room, and I'm just like hanging out, planning my trip. I'm on the phone with my mom. I end up hanging up on my mom multiple times because she keeps coming in. And she starts like asking me to hang out again. I'm like, oh, like, I just hung out with you. Like, can I have a little bit of time to like just chill by myself? Mind you, I am off the clock. I already spent 2 hours hanging out with her on a day that I'm off, and I get paid $75 a week. That is nothing for a full-time nanny. I guess au pairs just like don't get paid that much. Okay, yeah, so she comes into my room and she's asking me to hang out, and I'm like, okay, like, not now, like, I'm kind of trying to plan something. And she's basically just like, no, you're not, you're on TikTok. No, you're not, you're on TikTok. I'm like, okay, well, I'm like planning things on TikTok. I was like looking up restaurants and stuff. And she just like did not believe me, and she was like messing with me, and she starts jumping on the bed. Yes, it is her bed, but like in that moment it was mine, and so she's jumping on it with her shoes on, and I'm just kind of like, whoa, like, I'm kind of getting annoyed, you know? And then she keeps coming in and out, and I had like a water bottle that I bought from like the store, just a plastic water bottle, and she comes in and she's like, this is my water bottle. I'm like, no, I bought it. And so she like went and told her mom on me, and she's like, Brielle stole my water bottle. I'm like, no, I literally bought this at the store. I showed her the receipt. Like, she was just really getting on my nerves at this point. Mind you, they are not fluent in English at all, so us translating had to do a lot with like translating on the phone and just like trying to figure out things with like our hands and stuff. Okay, so that goes on for like 4 hours, and I'm not kidding. Like, her just like trying to hang out and stuff. And I get mad, and I'm like, okay, can you please leave? And she's like, no. And I'm like, no, like, please, I'm doing something, like, can you please leave? I'm being very polite. Mind you, she's still accusing me of things, and I'm just getting really annoyed. And so finally, I should have never done this, but I was just like, out. I pointed my finger, and I was like, please leave, I'm doing something. And she basically said, okay, if you can't hang out with me now, I'm gonna tell my dad that you can't have dinner with us. I was like, sure, go ahead, like, do that. Mind you, I had today completely off. Like, this day I had completely off. I could do whatever I wanted. I could rot in my bed. I could go travel. I could do whatever I wanted. So then she leaves, and a few minutes later I get a knock on my door, and it's the dad, and he's like, Brielle. And I was like, oh, hi. And I open the door, and he lays it on me. He starts yelling at me. He's like, how dare you disrespect my daughter like this? You are a part of this household. You need to act like it. And if you don't want to act like it, we won't feed you. And so I'm like, whoa, okay. And I'm not dramatizing anything. Like, this was a full ass, like, he was yelling at me. And so I was like, whoa, okay. So I like went back into my bed. This, like, it was like probably like a 2-minute like lecture, and I had like anxiety rush all the way down my neck. Like, I have photos of it, and I was just like stressed, like literally like shaking. I would never been like yelled at like that before in my life. So like I called my mom, and I was like, what the actual hell just happened? And she was like, oh my God, that is not okay. And I'm like literally crying. I'm like, holy crap. And so I pretty much stayed in my room for the rest of the day because I was like genuinely scared of the dad, and the dad had to go on a work trip the next day for the next week, so I didn't have to see him. But yeah, him yelling at me was the start of all the problems. And so that was on a Sunday. So the next morning I wake them up to go to school. Mind you, I'm doing this all by myself. The parents are getting ready for work, and sometimes they even leave before I get the daughters up. So I'm trying to wake them up for school, and they're being mean. They are yelling at me. They are saying stuff in Spanish, and I actually voice recorded some of them, and I sent them to my friend that's fluent in Spanish, and I was like, what are they saying? And they were basically just saying like, you get to go out at night, therefore we don't have to go to school. And so like I'm texting the mom, and I'm like, they are being horrible this morning, like I don't know what to do. And she was just like, it's okay if they're late, like that's fine. Like, I don't even know what ended up happening. I get at some point they both got up, and the older daughter left and went to school and didn't say a word to me because the older daughter can walk alone. Okay, and then so basically for the next 2 weeks, stuff like that was happening. I am like running out of time, so I'm gonna make a part 2.
How many of you have gone to sleep one night only to wake up the next morning to find out your partner, in my case, my husband, has been living a double life and you never had a clue. I found out about this on Wednesday, March 18th, 2009. That was the first time that I discovered I was married to someone living a secret double life. And I'm excited to tell the story to you of how it was revealed to me and everything that happened in the ensuing days, months, and years after discovering this. I do have to say and preface this with, it's a whole lot more than just the fact that I thought I was worth $10 million and discovered I was actually penniless. So on March 18th, I was headed out on an errand when my phone rang. It was my ex-husband calling, telling me that he was hoping to spend some time with me that morning. So I turned the car around and met him at our motorhome. Now, he told me later that it was intentional that he had me meet him at our motorhome because he knew I hated the motorhome. I hadn't wanted it. I didn't think it was necessary. I thought it was another one of his frivolous, excessive purchases. But we owned it. He wanted to have a chat with me. So he asked me to meet him at the motorhome, and I did. We sat down at the kitchen table of the motorhome, and he destroyed my world. He also told me later that he had planned that day, that moment, for over 1 year. So I walk in, I sit down at the kitchen table in the motorhome, and he had been on the phone. He ended his phone conversation, sat down, and told me that he wanted to talk to me about his company, Market Street Advisors. This was his full-time job. It was his investment company that he owned and ran. And he said, I need to tell you that my company, Market Street Advisors, is a sham, and it has been from the very beginning. I've actually been running a Ponzi scheme. It's hard to even breathe when I think back to that moment and being told that particular sentence. I honestly wasn't too sure what a Ponzi scheme was. I knew it was an illegal thing to do, but I hadn't paid much attention to Ponzi schemes beyond that. He then proceeded to tell me that 2 days before, on Monday, March 16th, he had hired an attorney. That on Tuesday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, ironically, that was the day I took the last family pictures of the family as I knew it, only I didn't know those were the last pictures I would ever take of our family. But anyway, on Tuesday, he, in the company of his attorney, had turned himself in to federal authorities, representatives of the U.S. government, and revealed his crimes. Later that night, while we were gathered at the TV as a family watching American Idol, he got up in the middle of the show, announced that he had to go to a meeting with our church leaders. He left for a period of time, came back while the show was still on, sat down, continued watching American Idol with us, and when I asked how his meeting had gone, he told me fine, and went to bed that night thinking everything was normal. And then on that morning, Wednesday, March 18th, that was the date that all of those people had given him to tell me. So I was the fourth reveal, the fourth conversation or party that he told. And I can guarantee sometimes the wife really is the last to know. That's exactly what happened in my case. So he's destroyed my world. My mind is reeling. None of this seems real to me. And he proceeded to tell me that all of our assets were frozen and scheduled for seizure by the federal government. He told me that he anticipated being charged within 7 days, sentenced within a month, and taken into custody within 6 to 7 weeks. And following all of that, he anticipated serving a sentence of 5 to 7 years in federal prison. When he uttered the words prison, I cannot even describe how that felt or what I was thinking. My mind was reeling. I didn't know how I was going to live or support my family or anything. I did hear the word prison, but I remember thinking and saying to him, oh my gosh, well, thank goodness the house is paid off. At least the kids and I will have a place to live. And when I expressed that out loud to him, he said, no, you don't understand. The house is gone. The cars are gone. The savings and investments are gone. Everything is gone. And then he reminded me that everything would be seized by the federal government and would go toward paying restitution to the victims of his crimes. So at the same time that my mind is reeling and I'm feeling shock and horror and disbelief, there is just a part of me centered in darkness. I just could not comprehend. It felt like I didn't even understand English. I just kept trying to process it, and it wasn't working. I also kept thinking, he's got to be joking. This can't be real. No way is any of this true. He'd always kind of been an absent-minded professor, forgetful about names or dates. Even once on a cruise in October, I had had a beautiful cake delivered to me with all of the wait staff congratulating me on my anniversary. Only our anniversary was in August. And I reminded my ex-husband of that, and he looked at me stunned and in shock, thinking, wait, well, what have I forgotten? This is for your birthday then. And I reminded him, no, my birthday is also in August. So he was just forgetful about some things. So the whole time he's telling me this, I keep thinking, this has to be a joke. This has to be an April Fool's joke. April Fool's Day is only a few weeks away. He's always confused about the calendar. This has to be a prank, but this is so not funny. He is not being very funny right now. I also remember asking about one client in particular, the father of one of my really good friends that I had known since college, even longer than I had known my ex-husband. I knew that that particular person had invested money with him a few months earlier, maybe up to a year earlier, and I was worried about them, worried about that money. And I remember asking, well, what's their situation? How are they? How could you do that to them? And he assured me they would be fine, that there would be restitution. And then, despite all of that, somehow, despite all of the shock and horror, a small yet insistent voice in my head was strongly speaking to my mind. Is that all? Ask him, is that all? Is there more? Is that all? Ask, ask. I felt like a fool because I couldn't really imagine what else there could be. I mean, wasn't a secret double life of crime enough? My mind just would not stop reeling. But I listened to that insistent voice and repeated the question out loud. Is that all? I don't know that I was even expecting an answer, but I got one, and it wasn't all. He shook his head no, and then he revealed that in addition to running a Ponzi scheme and defrauding the world, he had also hired call girls. Now, if crime hadn't blindsided me enough, for some reason, the infidelity shocked me as much or more than approximately his 15 years of crime. I still think I couldn't believe any of it or comprehend any of it, but then he started to cry. And I'm not sure if I'd ever seen him cry before. And that's when it hit me. This was real. He wasn't joking. My life was suddenly a nightmare. This cannot be happening. This cannot be me. This cannot be my life. It felt like the walls and the world was closing in on me, and I had to get away.
Shut up, it is not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
I was a mean girl in high school. Let's talk about it. There was a comment someone made, and it basically said something to the effect of, I'm so glad to see that me
I'm still the same mean girl that she was in high school. This comment is so silly goose. It made me just start reminiscing about high school. I went to high school over 4 years ago, so it's really been a minute. It's kind of crazy to me that someone like even still cares about that. I wish I could ask them like what they mean by that, because I wasn't like outwardly mean to just like anyone I went to school with. I was definitely mean to people that like did me dirty or that like, you know, were rude to me or something. I don't know. I didn't really care about people when I was in high school. I'm just busy doing my own thing and dealing with my own stuff. I had a lot going on when I was that age. Yeah. I really wish that I could have commented or I could have like seen who they were so I would like know more of the story. Basically, my high school life was very strange. I was pretty smart, like I am pretty smart. So I was in a lot of the like higher academic classes, but I wasn't friends with any of the kids in those classes. So I always felt kind of like out of the loop. Yeah, I never just got along with any of those kids and they never really like made an effort to hang out with me. Plus I also have really bad RBF, so that might have had something to do with it. And I can be very like outward spoken, like I'm pretty extroverted, and sometimes I say things before I can think them through, so just putting some oil in my hair. I can definitely see why people would think I was mean, but I really wasn't mean unless you were like rude to me. But yeah, like I said, I was in high school over 4 years ago and I was in the COVID class. So I wasn't even going to school like probably for a month before our school closed because I was doing my own thing. I've traveled a lot in the past 4 years. I've met a lot of different people, been in a lot of different places and learned a lot of life lessons. So I don't really think about high school anymore. And if you're still focused on me in high school, then you clearly have no purpose in my life, because you would definitely have a different opinion if you like actually knew me. If you're still someone who's like focused on high school and it's been almost 5 years, y'all must be chronically online and need to like get a life. Go travel, go meet people, go talk to people, go make money, y'all. But I do have a hot take on this. I think bullying is something that has to happen when you're young, something from like an evolutionary or like biological standpoint. And I've always thought this way, and I will probably continue to think this way. If you're someone who's being bullied, you kind of like to learn to stick up for yourself or like learn to have more confidence in yourself. Bullying in America, or like the mean girls of America, bruh, it's really not that bad. Y'all ever seen K-dramas? Y'all know what happens in other countries, what bullies are like. American teenagers have gotten so soft these days because of social media. Literally anything offends people and makes people be like, I'm being bullied. I feel like if you are being bullied, it's gonna help you grow up and be a stronger person, have your foot in life because of your experience. Unless you dwell on it for 4 years after high school, then that's just kind of sad. And then if you are someone that's bullying people, you never know what's going on in someone's life. Don't take it too personally. If someone's bullying you, they probably have something going on. Honestly, those people probably have some things that they need to work on themselves. Maybe that's all they know. But it's gonna teach them too how to treat people. A lot of people that are bullies do end up having like higher social growth in life. I feel like there's some psychological backing to this stuff. I mean, I'm not saying like go out and be mean to people. It's just something that naturally happens and that kind of has to happen. It's giving like evolution theories. It's giving biological things. But if you're still dwelling on that from 5 years ago, now, I'll be real with y'all, I don't talk to anyone from high school. Sometimes I'll reach out every now and then if, like, something comes up. Definitely, like, I'm not friends with anyone from high school. I don't plan on, like, mending any friendships from there. I went to a pretty small school in a very, like, tiny town compared to where I am now. Literally have no interest in befriending or like rekindling any relationships with those people. Only one person I talked to that I knew in high school, he didn't even go to my high school, happened to be friends after. High school doesn't matter at all. You're 22, you really need to like get a grip and focus on like your priorities in life rather than like dwelling on the past, which is crazy to me. Now that I'm at like 11,000 followers, I don't have any profile views on, and like TikTok basically took that away from me. You just can't see profile views and stuff anymore. Before I hit that number, I would see people from high school watching my stuff. Fine, because like every now and then I'd watch their stuff too, and they thing where TikTok's like, are you interested in this profile? It always made me giggle when I would see people from my school watching my stuff. It's so crazy. Moral of the story, if you're being bullied in high school or you are a bully in high school, y'all, it's so overrated. I promise. High school is literally meaningless. I haven't used anything from high school in my life since I left. and I don't plan on rekindling any relationships from high school, and I don't plan on going to any of the reunions. Those people literally mean zero to me now, and all of the things that happened in high school literally mean this to me now. Because I've had so many experiences and because I've learned so much from the 4 years I've had outside of high school. If you're still like reminiscing about high school and you're still hurt by something I said or did to you, I'm sorry. I probably don't remember it anyway. And you should probably get outside more.